Welcome to the world of Marissa Marchan channel, where there is always a story behind everything. Security blanket. Everyone has a favorite item that comforts us when feeling down, lonely, or even happy. Our security blanket, our go-to item, provides familiarity and warmth. Its soft touch and familiar scent soothe our troubled minds, bringing comfort and solace. As many of us know, security blankets aren't just for kids. Adults also find comfort in these cherished items. Whether it's a cozy blanket, a favorite book, or a piece of jewelry, these items can offer the same calming effect. They remind us of simpler times and provide an emotional anchor in our busy lives. I worked at a non-profit organization in 1980 near Chinatown in Honolulu. During break time, most of my female coworkers and volunteers had their bags of yarn and knitting needles ready. They would gather in the break room, exchanging patterns and stories while making beautiful scarves and blankets. It was common to see them sharing ideas and discussing their latest projects. I called those women grannies. They were only a few years older than me, but every time I saw them, I teased them and said, "Hello, grandmas. What are you making?" I used to call them that, and they always smiled and showed me their latest creations. I was in my 20s and had no interest in knitting, preferring to spend my breaks outside enjoying the fresh air. On weekends, I spent time with my husband Leo, exploring Honolulu's vibrant streets. We would visit local markets, watch movies, or take long walks on the beach. I never saw myself doing knitting since it was a hobby for older women, not something I would be interested in. I couldn't understand the appeal of sitting indoors with yarn and needles when there was so much to explore outside. I enjoyed watching old Asian people, mostly men, feed the birds as they gathered near the Chinatown Cultural Plaza, chatting and laughing. Their gentle interactions with nature provided a calming backdrop for my breaks. It became a peaceful ritual that I looked forward to each day. Then I became pregnant, and everything changed. The knitting ladies told me I could knit while waiting for the baby's arrival. I realized the women's knitting club came with cake and cookies, and some of the juiciest gossip in town. Suddenly, the idea of creating something with my own hands became more appealing. Who would have thought lunch break could be so entertaining? The ladies welcomed me into their circle and taught me how to knit. I struggled with knitting needles, my fingers were stiff and uncoordinated. One of the ladies chuckled and said, "Don't worry, dear. At this rate, your baby might be in college by the time you finish that first blanket." We all laughed. Soon, they suggested I try crocheting instead, thinking it might be easier for me. I made simple projects with a single hook and some yarn. Over time, crocheting became a cherished hobby, and I felt a deep sense of connection to the women who shared their craft with me. From then on, I crocheted wherever I went with my bag of yarn. My hands were always busy crafting during lunch breaks, on the bus, or while waiting at the doctor's office. Young volunteers at work suddenly called me Granny. I couldn't help but laugh at the irony of it all. The hobby I once dismissed as old-fashioned became my constant companion. Before my daughter Leslie was born, I made her an Afghan blanket, pouring love and care into every stitch. I thought it would be her security blanket, something she could hold on to for comfort as she grew. Unfortunately, it didn't turn out the way I hoped. My daughter's delicate skin became irritated by the yarn texture, and she couldn't use the blanket I had made with so much love. My husband told me to give it away, but I couldn't bear to part with it. Instead, I kept it as a keepsake, a reminder of the journey I had taken and the love I had put into each stitch. That was the end of my crocheting days. Leslie found comfort in her dad's pillow, always carrying it around the house and snuggling with it at night. It became her cherished item, something that soothed her in ways my blanket never could. The pillow, with its familiar scent and worn fabric, provided her with the comfort she needed. When Leslie had her own family, they moved to another city, seeking better job opportunities and a safer environment for their children. Even after all those years, Leslie couldn't part with her childhood comforts. Leslie brought remnants of her old pillow with her, tucked away in a small box. It was a piece of home, a link to her past that she could hold on to as she started her new life. The birth of our son, Matt, came 7 years after Leslie's. His security blanket was his Ninja Turtles stuffed animal. Matt carried it everywhere. Its bright green shell and bandana became familiar sights in our household. No matter where we traveled, that stuffed turtle was always by his side, offering security and companionship. Even as he grew older, the well-loved toy remained a cherished memento of his childhood days. Matt moved away from home after getting married. Suddenly, my husband and I found ourselves empty nesters. The house felt vast and quiet without our children. The rooms echoed with memories, and we adjusted to life's rhythm. One day, while cleaning the closet, I found Matt's old black Fruit of the Loom t-shirt he left behind. The fabric was soft and smooth. Wearing it made me feel closer to him. And it became my favorite clothing item. I washed and wore it almost every day, finding comfort in its familiar feel and memories. My husband often chuckled and said, "Wearing that shirt again?" But he understood the sentimental value it held for me. The years passed. We saw our kids less frequently, and our phone calls became hurried, focused on updates instead of meaningful conversations. I know parents experience this phase of life when their children become adults and have their own families to care for. Thankfully, the t-shirt survived many washes and continued to provide me with comfort. However, it made the holes larger, making wearing impossible. It's time to say goodbye. But I still couldn't let go. With so much sentimental value, parting with it was challenging. The t-shirt was a tangible reminder of the love and memories we shared. There was a sense of closeness that couldn't be achieved by words on a phone call. My husband tried to dispose of it several times, suggesting it was time to let go. But he never won. In the nick of time, I always saved it. Instead of throwing it away, I repurposed it into my other shirts with tiny holes, preserving its essence while giving it a completely different look. I realized that the t-shirt had become my security blanket, a source of comfort in moments I missed my children. Just as my daughter treasured her pillow remnants and my son's Ninja Turtle stuffed toy, I could be cool too. How about you? Do you have an item that holds a special place in your heart, something that has seen you through countless memories and moments? Tune in next week for another episode from Marissa Marchan channel. Please check out my channel trailer video to learn more about the exciting content you can expect from my channel. Your support means the world to me. I write young adult, new adult, and middle grade fiction. For more information about my work, visit marissamarchan.com. Don't forget to watch my other videos. Thank you.